Hello and welcome to another energy report. I'm actually recording this one in advance, which I've never done before, so this could be interesting. Because I'm going to be away camping with some friends on Friday, which is when the next energy comes in, which will be Blue Night. So I'm doing this in advance, and I'm going to schedule it to go live for you all to take a look at on Friday. So we've kind of got a bit of a strange time warp going on where I'm talking about things in the future and you're going to be listening to it, even happening now then. So sorry, waffling on. Okay, how's the wet dog wave spell been for you all? That's what I'm still in at the moment. That's what the past 2 weeks have been around. Which, if you saw my last report, was all about kind of relationships and how we find our tribe, how we relate to one another, and they've got like lots of this sort of drama triangle stuff going on around the threads and stories that we have connected to to our relationships, our family groups, our community groups, things like that. And I'll be honest, for me, this last 2 weeks has been a tough one, and they come up now and then. And I just had an awful lot of stuff from buried in my subconscious, stuff from my childhood, stuff from to do with my school days, stuff to do with my family sort of hierarchy and the roles and how that all slots together. Lots of this kind of stuff all just coming to the surface, and it knocked me a little bit for a little while, but you know, that's what I love about following this calendar, is that it kind of gives purpose sometimes to the things that we feel, and we can kind of like acknowledge that when we're having a wobble, if we're able to unravel what the root of that wobble is, and when we see it that it's in line with the energy codes that are happening, it becomes more of a learning experience rather than a problem. So yes, I've been feeling quite low. Yes, I've been very emotional. Yes, I've had a lot of stuff come into the surface that's been kind of painful and difficult to deal with. But in going through that, I've really suddenly, all of a sudden, in the last couple of days at the end of this energy spell, all of a sudden everything's become clear. It's like you suddenly kind of go, that makes sense. Like all of a sudden I know where I'm at, I know why these last 2 weeks have been difficult, and it's sort of like focusing in on what I need to do to be able to move forwards. So the white signs, as I mentioned repeatedly, are all about finding that clarity and that focus. The blue signs are all then about how do we transform and move forwards. So we've got a blue sign, Blue Night energy, coming in Friday. I've lost track of the day. Is what am I on today? Friday the 4th of August. I'll check that and amend it on the cover if need be. But yeah, on Friday we've got this new energy coming in, and this blue energy this time round is Blue Night, and it's the energy of the subconscious. It's a really, let's say, dark. Yeah, it's a dark and heavy energy. But I don't want you to make you think that it's in any way negative. Because to be fair, there is no negative or positive. All these signs have what we perceive as positive and negative, but it's all good. It's all there for a reason. It's all there for self-growth and enlightenment, and to keep us becoming the best version of ourselves that we possibly can be. So yes, this is quite a heavy, a dark, sleepy, nighttime, dreamy energy. If you can put some kind of emotion and feeling to that, then you'll be on the right lines. But this idea of the subconscious, it's all that stuff that's hidden so deep that we don't even know it's there. And this energy gives us kind of a window to be able to see what's under the surface and what we're hiding from. And therefore, if we can see it, we get an opportunity to work with that and to clear it or to learn from it. So I've been learning just lately quite a lot about the subconscious mind and how it sort of shows up in our lives, and essentially buried in our subconscious is elements of every experience that we've ever had from we're born, near enough, certainly from toddler days onwards. All these experiences that we have are all lodged there somewhere, and sometimes those experiences, they kind of create an emotional response. So sometimes we act or behave in a way that is not aligned with our intellectual mind, so to speak. And you might think to yourself, oh, why did I do that? Or where did that come from? You might be like, I don't know, really angry about something. And I think, oh, why did I get that reaction? And it's because something has happened that has triggered that emotion from deep in the subconscious that relates back to a past memory or a past belief. And basically, if we want to be happy and fulfilled and live meaningful lives, it's really important that our subconscious and our intellectual minds are matched. And in the most cases, they're not. Like I say, we have, our intellectual mind is able to reason and be logical and kind of go, okay, well, this is what I want, or this is what makes sense, and think through things rationally. But then we've got our subconscious mind, which is just completely emotional. It doesn't think rationally or logically whatsoever. It's a purely emotional response. And if that emotional response is doing something that goes against what we think we want on an intellectual level, then that's where we kind of get problems. There's a kind of a bit of a saying I've come across is what's in the way is the way. If you think about that for a moment, what I kind of mean by that is that whenever there's a struggle or a challenge or a problem, or that feeling of just hitting your head against a wall, a blockage that you can't seem to get past, that struggle is basically highlighting a misaligned belief. It's highlighting where there's something not unbalanced and not in harmony between the two sides of your brain. So by noticing that, instead of kind of being just all upset because we've got a problem or something that we can't work through, if we can kind of look at that and dig underneath it and be like, oh, okay, so if I see that as a marker, if you like, as to something that needs work. And sometimes it takes a bit of unraveling. And in my own experience, I quite often sit here and kind of be like, well, okay, what's this telling me? What's the lesson? What's happening in my subconscious? What is universe trying to show me by this challenge? And sometimes it's not obvious, because sometimes these things are just buried so deep. But like I say, this energy is kind of useful for helping those things come to the surface so that we can recognise them a little bit easier. And once we're aware of it, that's the hardest part done, really. Once we've given awareness to a buried belief, it starts to dissipate. It doesn't have the emotional power quite so much once it comes to the surface. So sometimes, literally, you don't really need to do anything else other than be aware of it, and that in itself means it just starts to dissolve just ever so slightly. So this blue night energy it's a quiet time. I said it's a dark energy, but it's also very quiet. It's a quiet, peaceful, calm energy. It's a time for inner reflection. It's a time for doing all this clearing and unraveling. But and it's time for reprogramming. So if your life allows you to do so, then this is a really good time to just shut off for the rest of the world for a little bit, whether that's for a day or a week or the whole energy spell, depending on your circumstances. But if you can just make the space to detach from everything else that's out there and really kind of start to focus on what's happening in here, that's how you're going to get the most out of this energy that's coming in the next couple of weeks. For those of you in my WhatsApp group, you may or may not remember that a couple of months ago I was recording a video about our belief systems, because again it sort of fitted in with the wave spell at that time, and I had a lot of questions about belief systems and, well, how do we identify them, how do we work with them, how do we reprogram them. So I put together a lovely video that, well, I thought was a lovely video, and I wasn't able to share it. I had technical computer problems, internet problems, and I wasn't able to share it with you. So part of me thinks that maybe that wasn't the right time to share it. Maybe this is the right time to share it, that it fits in better with this energy. So I will have another excuse me I will have another look at that next week for you. If you're not in my WhatsApp group and you're wondering what this is all about and thinking, I'd quite like to see that video, that sounds interesting, then drop me a message, because you need to be in the group to get it. Okay, I'm going to round up very quickly because I'm getting a tickle in my throat that doesn't want to go away. So I'm going to love you and leave you. Have a wonderful wave spell, and I'll be back again very soon. Bye for now.